Shall we move on? Clear? Picture is clear in your mind. So write the heading, economic structure of India. Economic structure of India. First I will discuss, then I'll make you write. Okay? So just understand. Initially we can say the economic structure is very important. Like for example, yesterday I told you about that Indian economic structure before 1991 was tilted towards socialistic pattern of economic structure. But after 1991, we gradually shifted towards market-based economy. Now yesterday I've mentioned two important terms: capitalist system, economic system, and socialist economic system. But in real sense, these are two extreme systems that does not exist in the real world. So from capitalist system, we use the word free market economy. What's the meaning of free market economy? Where we have less government intervention and less intervention by labor union. What about socialist system? We say it is a dominance of government sector, or what we can say state-run economic system, where the role of the state is on the higher side, where private sector comes after state or comes after government, public sector. So from now onwards, for your mains answer writing purpose, we are using two terms: state-run economy, and second one is free market economy. So you cannot use the word capitalist economic system and socialist economic system. Clear? So India adopted the system of mixed economy. Now the question arises, what's the meaning of mixed economy? It means we take some good part of free market economy, or what we can say capitalist system. Good part means, and good part of state-run economies. Good part of socialist system. Our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru was inspired by Fabian socialism. What is Fabian socialism? Gradual shift. There are two terms, revolution and evolution. Which is a slow process? Evolution. Revolution will take place suddenly. So Fabian socialism inspired in Britain. Then he was inspired by planning period of Soviet Union, which was initiated in the year 1928 by Joseph Stalin. So he was very much inspired. That is why India established its planning commission on 15th March 1950. Then India initiated its planning process from 1st April 1951, first 5-year plan. So economic structure at that time was of total under government control. Just after independence, we were not interested in inviting any foreign company. You can understand the sentiments of that policymakers. So tilted towards state-run economies, where the role of the government is an important one. Private sector will function under government control. So there were things like we have licensing system. So the growth at that time of industry was solely dependent on policies made by government of India. So big industries installed in the year 1956 after second 5-year plan. We have invested a lot of capital into that. But before 1956, we were focusing on agriculture sector. So initially, we can say that India was an agrarian economy. Now, if you write this statement in mains examination, now the examiners or the question will demand some fact, evidence. How can you say that India was an agrarian economy? So then you will write that 75%, or we can say 3/4 of our population engaged in agricultural sector. And the contribution of agriculture sector to GDP was around 60%. Getting my point?
Sir, what is the difference between license Raj back then and license Raj now?
There's no license Raj. No, we cannot say. We have licenses just for 5 industries. We'll discuss in that industry module.
नॉर्मल इंडस्ट्री के लिए भी नहीं मिलता लाइसेंस।
No, that's clearance. That's clearance. That's not license. License for alcohol industry, license for pharmaceutical, license for atomic energy. These are major things.
क्लियरेंस लाइसेंस तो एक ही हुआ था।
No, no, we cannot say. License is a different thing.
जैसे अभी सीलिंग प्रोसेस चल रहा है
हाँ.
सर दिल्ली में।
So these are illegal, no? These are residential area.
एक बार जो जैसे जो इंडस्ट्रियल एरियाज में है आसपास चले गए ओखला सर वहाँ भी अगर अप्लाई करें तो एक साल से सर अप्लाई किया और अभी तक
So there are no licenses, there are clearances, land clearance and environmental clearances. There is some legally. There must be some illegal issue.
के लिए भी सर अगर अप्लाई करें वैसे तो गवर्नमेंट कहती है कि सर मतलब जो ऑफिशियल है कि 7 डेज में पावर लग जाएगी लेकिन सर अभी तक ना करें इसे डिस्कस
This is a problem of implementation. First of all, you cannot write about implementation. First, they are asking about policy making. So we can discuss policy. These are debatable topic, endless topic. If I'll say that India is fully electrified, that's the statement of government. By 1st May 2018, there were around 18,500 something villages totally electrified. Now you know the parameters. I don't want to discuss these things because you cannot write in the examination. What are the parameters of declaring a village as electrified, fully electrified? If you have 70 households in a village, if you electrify 10% of those villages, village will declare as electrified. These are the parameters. So on these parameters, आप तो एक दिन में पूरे देश में बिजली लगा सकते. Getting my point? So we are just discussing the policy making aspect. What is happening in the ground, that's your problem after becoming an officer. I'll discuss, but for the examination purpose, these are endless discussion topics. I can discuss after the class, we'll debate for 1 hour, 2 hours. I'm very interested, no doubt. But these are, we cannot write these things. If the question comes about demonetization, what will you write? It's a bad policy, ruined the economy. No. You have to write the positive aspects. I'm not saying you are writing wrong, but your language should be proper. Language should be what government is saying. There are 4 big parameters. I've discussed in crash course. 4 big parameters: countering black money, unearthing black money, then counterfeit currency, then countering terrorism. Then 4th one is digital economy. This is given by Economic Survey. There was full-fledged chapter of demonetization. Check. So move on to our topic. That Indian economic system we can say was an agrarian economy. So we'll compare 1950 with 1991 and 2017. So 1950, contribution of agriculture sector was around 60%. So if you are not sure with data, just write approximation. But do not write specific data. Agriculture contribution is 60%. You cannot write. Reading okay? Industry, the contribution of industry was around 17%. And the contribution of services. So in some books I found that there was no service sector in around 50s and 60s decade. मैं देखा है books में लिखा है ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. You always have transportation even in the ancient India. This is a wrong notion. So by giving these data, we can easily say India was an agrarian economy. This is contribution to GDP, okay? Sector's contribution to GDP. Contribution of particular sector to GDP. Done? After that, what happened? We switched from agriculture to industry. Yesterday I have discussed how scenario happened. We were not able to switch our agriculture sector, or we are not able to set our excess surplus labor which is extracted from agriculture sector towards industrial sector. Why? Because our industrial base was weak. Why? Because it was always under protection. It was always under protection. You compare two children, like one studying in a convent school and another one studying in a rural school, or is not even going to the school. You can see the difference in personality. You can see, suppose two children, compare that one is a sports person and one is never played any sports, never went out of home, always under protection. Are you getting my point? So at that time, industries was under the protection of government. What does it mean? It means their appraisal, their improvement, their growth was not on the basis of their per year performance. They are getting money. They are getting money. Why you want government job? If I'll ask you, why you want government job? Pension, job security, number one. Second one is a regular salary. You don't know what will happen in 2050, 2016. But why you are preparing? Just to make sure your future will secure. You will get monthly payment for sure. If there is a recession, anything will come, but you will get your salary. First one is job security. So what happened at that time? Industry were under the protection of government. So industry was, or their performance appraisal was not on the basis of their productivity. So India was not able to switch from agriculture sector to industrial sector, because the people engaged in industrial sector, they were not of the opinion that if we do something, we will get enough amount. If we will not do anything, we will also get that amount. If we are incurring loss, government will bail out. Do you understand the word bailout? There is a current trend, bail out and bail in, FRDI bill. We'll discuss that bill. Bailout means when a debt-ridden or sick industry is compensated by the government fund. Suppose I'm running a firm, okay, running a steel industry. I'm incurring loss of around 1,000 crore per year. Government every time, whenever I occur loss, government compensated with that 1,000 crore rupees. What will I do? I'll not do anything to reduce that loss. Getting my point? So industries are always under protection. That is why they are not able to grow enough, or they were not able to compete with the foreign investment, foreign adversaries. That is why India was always restricting foreign direct investment, because our industry is not capable enough to withstand the force of foreign direct investment. Getting my point? So in the year 1991, the share of agriculture went down. It was around 26%, drastically reduced. So around 26% of agriculture, around 26% of industry, and 48% of services. We have initiated a lot of post office services in 70s and 80s at the era of Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. So service sector, that is why, grew fast. There were also financial services of stock exchanges. That was the major factor in growing this service sector. Nowadays, in 2017, we have 14% contribution of agriculture sector. Here we have 60%, and here stagnated around 26%. So this is the big dividing line in the Indian economy. This is the big dividing line. Now, how will you refer some economy as agrarian economy or service economy or manufacturing economy? If the contribution of that particular sector is more than 50%. So here you can say India was an agrarian economy. Here you can say India is a service-based economy. But what happened with this middle column? We have never achieved even 30%. Leave about 50% or more than 50%. So due to weak industrial base, India escaped the pattern of that growth. Services. That is why now we are moving back and focusing on Make in India programs, attracting FDI, making policies, abolishing foreign direct promotion board. Getting my point? So this was the main. But when we consider occupational structure, it means absorbing the labor force. We compare at that time, I told you about that 3/4 of the population was engaged in agricultural sector. So by engaging 75% of population, agriculture was giving 60% of the contribution to GDP. More or less is acceptable. But here still we have 55% of population engaged in agriculture sector. But what's the output? 14%. This is the sign of worry. Getting my point? It means India was not able to pull out excess labor from agriculture sector to other sector. Now the question arises, this is a question of means. What was the reason? What were the factors? You have to analyze all these factors. What went wrong? Any idea? What do you think? Why our country is unable to absorb excess labor from agriculture sector to other two sectors? Skills are not. Because there is a skill deficit. The demand of industry and service sector is of skilled labor force. But in agriculture sector, we are experiencing disguised unemployment. What is disguised unemployment? We'll discuss extensively when we take the employment module. But here just to mention, what is disguised unemployment? Yeah, true. Any other? So what we can say in economic terms, because UPSC is repeatedly asking basic terminologies. So this is a concept of utility. Marginal utility, when your marginal utility is 0, it means suppose this is the piece of land and I require only 5 labor. If I employ extra labor, marginal labor, what's the meaning of margin word? Extra. If I employ one more labor, 6 labor, but I require only 5 labor. Suppose there are 4 corners, so I require 1 each and 1 in between. If I employ the 6th one, where he will go? Don't know. He will do something, he will sit down in the corner. So it means the extra labor is not contributing to the production of this particular land. This is labor, not capital. We can say that is labor output, but we cannot compare with capital output ratio. This is labor output ratio, you can say. 2 important factors, labor and capital. Okay? So due to disguised unemployment and lack of skill, which is the demand of these 2 sectors. Like in service sector, what's the requirement? First, communication skills, second, computer skills. These are the most important. If you work in bank, financial institutions, you have to know computer, basic knowledge of computer, then communication skills. Then in industry, you require some kind of physical skills like operating machines. Getting my point? But here in agriculture sector, not a high level of skill is required. So that is why we have programs like Skill India. Getting my point? यहाँ से scheme बनती है. You have to think like this. If something is happening, what's the requirement? So you have to trace back that what happened in the past, how we can analyze this particular important scheme. What's the analysis? What is the interconnection? Like for example, I'll narrate one timeline, Make in India. Then a lot of industry saying that your labor force is not skilled enough. That is why Modi ji launched another scheme, Skill India. But how will you provide skills to these many individuals? So I've said that we should build an individual entrepreneur group. Stand Up India and Startup India. You suppose there are 5-10 people. We can say that it is very difficult to provide employment for one particular individual. But if an individual or if every individual is building their own industry or firm, so you can employ 1 or 2 employees. So you will create a ripple effect in the economy and it will reduce the responsibility of government. So getting my point, the trend of schemes like Jan Dhan Yojana. What happened after Jan Dhan Yojana? Can you give me an example of interconnection with Jan Dhan Yojana? Think about it. Bank account. What's the benefit of having bank account? We have subsidies. We are moving from cash subsidy to direct account transfer subsidy. So first requirement is bank account. Do you see the connection? In order to reduce the expenditure on subsidy, or we can say leakages in subsidy, we have to transfer that subsidy directly from the government to beneficiary. Getting my point? ऐसे पढ़ना है economics में. ठीक है, so you understand this occupational structure. But what happened here? If we discuss service sector is contributing 60%, or maybe it is expected that in future it will go up to 65 to 70%. But there is a problem of absorbing labor force. Why? Because in service sector, one employee can contribute to or can replace many other employees. Because here we have we are taking help of machines, computer systems. If you are operating one supercomputer, you require hardly 2-3 individuals just to switch on, switch off, just to see the proper functioning is working or not. Everything is done by the supercomputers. So here, contribution is more, but absorption of labor force is less. That is why countries or that is why organizations like World Bank is suggesting India that you should initiate programs or you should invest in labor intensive industries. If you have capital, you have taken loan from some big organization or some big countries. But what are you doing? You are not using that investment or that capital to provide employment. Getting my point? Kaushik Basu, you know Kaushik Basu? Chief Economist of ex-Chief Economist of World Bank. He was also the Chief Economic Advisor of Government of India in the last decade. He said that we need to calculate the data of employment. Because hardly we have data on employment. We cannot use proxies like EPFO, Provident Fund. Do you know Provident Fund? Social Security Scheme. If an individual is contributing to some Provident Fund, it means he or she is employed somewhere or the other. But after demonetization, we are witnessing that lot of formalization of the economy is happening. Do you understand formalization? Okay, we'll discuss later. Okay. So you're getting my point? Service-based economy, what's the problem? Less absorption capacity of labor force. I'll make you write everything in a paragraph wise. Okay. So we'll write first, otherwise discussion will go long. Do I have to dictate about capitalist system, socialist system, free market? Nothing. You know everything? Right after independence, you write, right after independence, right after independence, India adopted the pattern of mixed economy. Right after independence, India adopted the pattern of mixed economy. In which the role of government was a dominant one, and the private sector worked under the aegis of Government of India. AGEIS, work under the aegis of Government of India. First off, initially, India was an agrarian economy. Because the contribution of agriculture to GDP was around 60%. And the people engaged in agriculture sector was around 75% of the total population. The 75% of the population. To be more specific, it was 74.2. But you write 75. First off, Indian policymaker realized that India required a strong industrial base. In order to move towards achieving the status of developed country. Full stop. Due to excessive protection, Indian industries were not in a position to compete with inflow of foreign industries as well as big industrial houses. Full stop. MSME industries. You know the full form? Micro, small and medium enterprises. MSME industries were directly under the protection of government. And due to this protection, they were experienced an important development. They were experienced an important development related to employment opportunities, as well as their export potential, Full stop. India encountered a huge crisis in the year 1991. India encountered a huge crisis in the year 1991. And it had to open its economy. For foreign investment, in order to correct its balance of payment deficit. We'll discuss in next few modules what is balance of payment, what is this, but just for the sake of this topic you have to write balance of payment deficit. I'll explain. ठीक है, full stop. हो गया? ठीक है.